So this week, Donald Trump's chief strategist, Steve Bannon, announced there will be something called a new political order, an order driven by populism, by anger at politicians and elites, by economic nationalism, according to Bannon. As both the Conservatives and the NDP leadership races heat up in Canada, and this week, by the way, I should say, NDP MP Charlie Angus has thrown his hat into the ring. Those parties are at a crossroads. Is this the age of populism in Canada? To find out, I'm joined now by Doug Ford, whose late brother Rob Ford, of course, was the famous populist mayor of Toronto. I'm also joined by Avi Lewis, one of the authors of the LEAP Manifesto, which has urged political parties and had a big impact on the NDP to make very dramatic changes to government policies. Avi and Doug, great to see you both on the program.
Great being here.
All right.
Hi there.
Doug Ford, a lot of people say that what you and your brother did was really the precursor to the populism of Donald Trump. Do you buy that?
I buy it. I always say Donald Trump and Rob aren't very similar. The movement's very similar, but we saw it with Brexit. Rob blazed the trail for a populist movement. And I always want to remind people that our base is made up of 40% of traditional NDP voters, union members, 49% of traditional Liberal voters, and some fiscal conservatives.
Well, this is it. And Avi Lewis, this has been interesting because Donald Trump on Friday said a similar thing. He said the working class person is part of the Trump movement. That used to be the bedrock of the NDP. What happened here?
Well, you know, there's definitely a problem with right-wing populism. It is fundamental. It goes to its core. Right-wing populism runs about as deep as TV makeup. It's about as real as wrestling. Right-wing populism, you can call every constituent you want, you can connect with working people, and you can go and pick up their garbage, but the policies, the right-wing economic policies, hurt those most vulnerable people and hurt working people. That was the case under the Ford administration here in Toronto. It's been the case under Harper. It's really the case under Trump. Yeah,
wow.
you know, well, go ahead, Doug.
Well, you know something that hurts people. What really hurts people is when you're getting your backside taxed off. When I go door to door and they can't afford the hydro rates because their hydro rates are as expensive as basically their mortgage. And when they try to bring home, you know, they're making $30,000, $40,000 a year, working in the back of a factory, and the vast majority of their money goes to taxes. That's what hurts people. I know it firsthand. I've door knocked. I hear the people, and you keep saying the right wing. Rob was not the right wing. He was fiscally conservative.
Okay, but associated with the conservative. You talked at the Conservative Conference, the Manning Center.
Yeah.
The future of the Conservative Party is at stake. And they're talking, is it going to be a Libertarian Party of Max Bernier? Is it going to be fiscal conservative and social liberal? What's your pitch for the future of the Conservative Party?
Well, I think the Conservatives, along with all the parties, we still have in the Conservatives, Liberals, and NDP are the political elites, the political establishment.
What does that mean?
Well, the political elites. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a political elite.
Hilarious.
This is
just
no,
plain
I'll tell you.
hilarious.
The political elites.
Doug,
I have
that's
my buddy
you.
Avi on the other side. John Tory is the
you.
political elites. You know, we hang out with the blue collar folks. We don't hang out at these posh clubs and, you know, everyone that looks down on the common person that doesn't donate $1,000 to the campaign.
A scintilla of reality to this conversation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Doug, the integrity commissioner in Toronto found that you had used your office to benefit clients of your company improperly.
So
and you
that's
got
a false
tickets
accusation right there.
You got tickets to the Rogers tennis tournament.
No,
so how many of your blue collar constituents were sitting in the $200 seats with you?
No. See,
right?
this is where you got it all wrong.
Let me make a more substantive point.
Yeah.
You preach populism, and populism is definitely like the EMTs for a right-wing economic movement that is otherwise on life support. It is the savior of right-wing economics, but you practice the politics of austerity. You slashed 62 transit routes. You tried to close libraries. You said you'd do it in a heartbeat. You took money out of services for those very people that you claim are your friends in your constituency.
But let me ask Avi Lewis.
Well, first of all, what he said wasn't true, and it's not accurate, so he's wrong on that.
We're talking about populist movements, but Avi Lewis, you're one of the co-authors.
Let's footnote those facts anytime you're ready. I'm ready to go deep into the weeds on the facts.
Okay, but hang on. You can go deep all you want. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. That's a problem.
Gents, on the LEAP Manifesto, I want to just ask Avi Lewis, there's a leadership race going on for the NDP. Avi Lewis, what direction does the NDP have to go to try to revitalize its fortunes?
Well, the ascendance of Trump, of crypto-fascism in populist makeup, is very, very scary. But in some ways, let's be honest, it is a failure of the left. You have an NDP that's moved so far to the center now that it's scared of its left-wing shadow. Bernie Sanders, had the right-wing Democratic machine not locked him out of the possibility, of the true possibility of winning the primary, or had he won the primary, he would have given Trump a run for his money, because Bernie talked about taxing banks, taxing corporations, and redistributing money to the people who don't have enough. Why is the NDP not following right down that path? There's two Canadians, Galen Weston and David Thompson, who control as much wealth as a third of us, as 10 million Canadians. We got to take their money away and share it in revitalized public services that benefit everyone. That's left-wing populism. That is the future of the left. If we don't, we'll have fascism in the United States.
Okay, I got 30 seconds.
God help us, Avi.
He calls this fascism.
God help us if we ever let you take care of the finances. You're going after the Weston family? You got to be kidding. That creates tens of thousands of jobs that were entrepreneurs in this country that are out there creating jobs, paying taxes. You're going after the Thompsons.
You're showing your true feelings about our elites. The richest two people in Canada are people you admire.
That's the problem.
I got 10
seconds. There's where we fall on the elitism.
That's the difference between the left and the right. You always try to interrupt.
Okay, I got 10 seconds.
Isn't it great? Entrepreneurs are great. They create jobs, protect the little guy. Do you know what you guys are? You're nothing but a bunch of poverty pimps. You don't help the people that are on poverty. Unlike Rob and I used to go help people. You just want to jump on the back of their coattails.
I agree. Pimps. Let's give more money to Galen. Let's give more money to Galen Weston and David
That's right. God bless the Weston family. That's what I have to say. We need more people like the Westons.
That solves the populism question right there.
Doug Ford and Avi Lewis, if you ever thought that the leadership race for the Conservative Party and the NDP matters, well, check out the Passions of the Debate. Doug and Avi, great to have both of you on the program.